Merry Christmas, everybody. Welcome to Bills by the Numbers, where we let the stats tell you where the Bills are at. We're presented by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Coming your way, the NFL MVP race is heating up in the wake of Josh Allen's recent second-half play. Does he have a shot at repeating? And James Cook is breathing down Jonathan Taylor's neck for the rushing title. Is Offensive Player of the Year in the cards for him? And we'll have our one burning question. Time to hop on the one-horse open sleigh. Welcome to this holiday edition of Bills by the Numbers. He is Bills Hall of Famer Steve Tasker. I'm Bills play-by-play man Chris Brown, and he was once considered a non-factor. But the unicorn of unicorns has entered the chat. Reigning MVP Josh Allen, with his back-to-back fourth-quarter comeback performances and wins over Cincinnati and New England, has vaulted himself into the conversation of league MVP. It had largely been deemed a two-horse race by most handicappers who had the Rams' Matthew Stafford and the Patriots' Drake May as the favorites for the league's most valuable player, and deservedly so. Those two quarterbacks have been remarkably efficient and productive, and their teams have been in contention for the one seed in the playoffs for their respective conferences. But in the last three games, Josh Allen has accounted for 9 touchdowns and 3 straight victories, including a road win at New England to overcome a 21-point deficit, matching the largest road comeback in Bills team history. Prior to the Thursday night game between the Rams and Seahawks in Week 16, Allen had pulled even with Matthew Stafford for the most total touchdowns with 37. May is a distant 7th with 27. Should scoring ability be the top factor, Steve, in the equation of determining league MVP?
I think it's just part of the equation. You'll get to it in a minute. I think you have to look across the spectrum of how quarterbacks are evaluated. Wins, losses. How high towards the top of the rankings are they in the positive rankings, and how high are they in the negatives? I mean, 2 years ago, Josh Allen was disqualified from it, even though he had a monster season because he had 18 interceptions. Other guys have won the MVP with way more interceptions than that, handful more interceptions than that. Most notably, Kurt Warner in one of his MVP seasons. He had 23 interceptions.
They threw it a lot.
So I think it's got to be in the equation, but I think when you look at it, I think you look at the broad spectrum of how we evaluate quarterbacks. Like I said, win-losses, completion percentage, touchdown to interception ratio, rushing touchdowns, rushing yards, first downs, expected yards per completion, all the stuff, the advanced analytics. I think you got to look at the total package. And not only just the numbers, but you got to strip it away and just say, what do I see when I see him play?
Well, that's what I was going to say, because, yes, all those numbers count and should be factored in to the MVP equation. But I think also you have to look at whether the team that person plays for is in contention for at least the playoffs. It's hard to hand an MVP to a guy on a 7-10 team.
That's right.
So I think that counts. And then I think making critical, game-changing plays in some of the biggest moments of games really separates what an MVP truly is, the most valuable player at the most critical times. And the reason Josh Allen's back in this conversation is because he's done that the last 2 weeks.
That's right.
And he did it last year in a lot of big games.
And here's the problem, I think, for most fans out here where we sit, it's hard to quantify that.
Yes.
Now, advanced analytics people say, yeah, well, we do that, and Josh is always at the tippy top of that.
Expected points added and all that stuff.
He's the best of that. But it's hard for regular fans to say, yeah, well, my guy came through in this area, and it's hard to quantify it. But your gut tells you which guys are good at it. Certainly, Josh is always at the top of that. So, yeah, that is also in the equation. Crunch time. And your quarterback has always got his hands on the ball in crunch time, and how good is he in those moments? Yeah, I think that's a large part of it as well.
As we often do here on Bills by the Numbers, is provide the numbers for a more in-depth analysis. So total yards this season, Allen ranks 4th with 3,811. Ahead of him, Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes, and 3rd, Drake May, with 3,929 total yards, 118 yards ahead of Allen heading into Week 16. Stafford is 6th with 3,714. Completion percentage, Allen 2nd in the league at 70%. First is May at 71%. Stafford a distant 14th at 66.4%. First downs, Allen is tied for first with Prescott, 201 on the season. May is 4th, Stafford 5th. Scramble yards, Allen not surprisingly first, 424. May is 3rd with 356. Stafford not part of that competition. Offensive total pass expected points added. May is 1st, 115.2. Allen 3rd, 100.4. Stafford 5th, 88. Passing yards, Stafford 2nd, May 5th, Allen 8th. Passer rating, Stafford 1st, May 3rd, Allen 4th. Third down passing leaders, Allen 6th, May 10th, Stafford 16th. Fourth quarter passing leaders, Stafford 1st, Allen 4th, May 22nd. Game-winning drives, Allen tied for 4th with 4, May and Stafford with just 1 each, tied for 20th, and that could be read into as those teams are usually ahead on the scoreboard. So fourth, game-winning drives not necessarily needed because their teams are winning games and ahead.
That is true, but you look at the schedules, and the outcomes for these teams.
Mm-hmm.
The Patriots, and that's kind of what you look at. They're 11-3. They've got only a handful of games where they
all their
way
games
ahead.
have been tight.
Their
all
games
their
have
games
been tight. It's not like they've been. There have been some. The Giants game, of course, the Jets game, but when you get down to the Buccaneers, the Falcons, and then they lumped up the Browns and the Titans.
Most people do.
The Saints game was a one-possession game. The Bills game was a one-possession game. They lumped up the Panthers. They lost to the Steelers. The Miami Dolphins they beat. That was a one-score game. So they've been in some tight games. So I don't know if you can lump the May numbers into that where they've always been ahead. But
so last stat here, plays of 20-plus yards. Stafford 1st with 57. Allen 2nd with 56. May 4th with 52. We just ran through a boatload of statistics. Do any of them carry more weight for you than another?
Yeah, fourth quarter stuff. I think for me is important because that's the games in the NFL are always tight and they're tough. You got to be good, and like you said, in crunch time, third down is an important one. Obviously the scramble yards are an individual stat. You got to take that.
Stafford's not going to rank there.
Right.
Stafford's just not who he is.
That's right. And total offense EPA, I think that's important. May's 1st, Allen's 3rd, Stafford's 5th. All these guys are right at the top. And that, and those kind of pass EPA, those are like all-encompassing. So for the entire season. But that also, when you do this thing with the total season, and it's EPA, expected yards. It has to do with play selection, personnel on the field, game situation,
opponent. So
that's more of a team stat. Although the quarterback is a massive part of it, it's a team stat. Third down's a little bit of a team stat. Fourth quarter passing leaders, a little bit of a situational and team stat. But game-winning drives should be important. It's hard to sift through this because all these guys are right in the top 5 of most of these important categories.
And maybe that's what you pull from all these statistics because these three players are in the running, or they're at least in the top 10 in almost all of these, which I think only cements their candidacy for the MVP and consideration to win the award.
It's hard because you got to take the time, and nobody does this. Bills fans take the time to go back and look at Josh's plays, and New England fans look at May's, and the L.A. fans look at Stafford's. And you pluck out all those times during the season, and there have been a bunch for all of these guys of where that guy did it. And who knows? I mean, unless you go back and look, how many and how important were the plays that May made for the Patriots that won games the way Josh Allen won games for the Bills and Stafford won games for the Rams? And you go down the list of guys in this conversation. So all these, I hate to say it like this because I'm a Bills guy. I mean, we're Bills guys.
Yeah.
All these guys are worthy of this.
They're all deserving.
They're all deserving.
Knowing it is a tight race, what do you believe Josh Allen still has to do over the final 3 games to make a more convincing case for himself? Not that he's campaigning to do that, but what do you think would have to happen? Because he got himself on the radar and back into the conversation with 2 amazing second-half performances these past 2 weeks. What does he still need to do? What do you think he still has to put on the resume this year?
Here's what it takes. I mean, he has to keep on doing what he's doing, obviously. I think it's not so much, and even so, us saying it like this, where he's played himself into the conversation, that kind of thing. I think what happens is, invariably, other guys play themselves out of it, unfortunately, because it's hard, particularly with 4 games to go, to run off and leave Drake May, Matthew Stafford, name your guy.
Right.
Bowden, name your guy. It's hard to run off and leave those guys because everybody's playing well at this time of year. I think it's about other guys playing themselves out of it. So I think that's what you're looking at. Either you don't get the opportunity, or your team wins a close one against an inferior opponent. For instance, the Bills win this game this weekend 10-7 against the Browns. That kind of stuff. You play yourself out of it.
Right.
These guys have played themselves into it. They're going to stay in the conversation unless they trip up.
I'll say marquee games in marquee windows helps. Matthew Stafford, at the time of the taping of this podcast, had not yet played the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. If he lights up the Seahawks, which are a top 3 defense,
that's right,
he could cement himself as the league MVP. Josh Allen in Week 17, playing in a major window game against the Eagles in a couple of weeks. The defending Super Bowl champs, he lights them up and runs for a 30-yard touchdown and wins the football game. I mean, we remember what it took last year when he won the MVP. He's, making an unbelievable play off a lateral to dive for a pylon against the San Francisco 49ers.
Right.
I mean, you make plays like that,
that's correct.
It's going to be all over television for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of the next week. And then, those are the things that get more recognition, it seems, these days.
That's right. And think about this. Josh makes a play like that San Francisco game in the snow, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Chris Collinsworth, standing up in the booth, jumping up and down. Josh makes a play like that. Even L.A. Ram fans couldn't envision Matt Stafford doing that. I mean, that's a play that's not in his repertoire.
Yeah.
There's that kind of thing that goes into it. Voters listen to that kind of thing. And I also think there's a little bit of this, and I think Lamar suffered from this last year. He already won it. Some of the voters are like, hey, he won it last year.
Yeah.
If it's close, let's give it to a new guy. That kind of thing goes on. There's no question. These are human beings, fallible human beings. In some cases, you'll say you can argue about the qualifications of the voters, about what they put into it. Some of them sit in their armchair and with the remote, and that's how they vote. That's about as much research as they do. It's just the way it is. So, yeah, a play like the one you're describing, yes, absolutely. Even that, until you get close to the end, I think other guys got to play themselves out of it.
Yeah. Switching gears, another dynamic player on Buffalo's offense and near the top of the league in both rushing and total yards from scrimmage is James Cook. He leads the league with 8 100-yard rushing games this season, 3 more than anyone else. Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry are tied for second with just 5. He also has the most 100-plus total scrimmage yard games than anyone in the league with 11. He is currently just 28 rushing yards behind Jonathan Taylor for the league's rushing title, and his 1,686 total scrimmage yards ranks 4th in the NFL behind Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, and Christian McCaffrey. Robinson's team no longer in contention, which figures to hurt him a bit, but not terribly. What about the race with Taylor and McCaffrey for Cook?
Well, I think we're in the exact same conversation we were a moment ago. Certainly, the Offensive Player of the Year is the league's chance and the voters' chance to give an award to somebody other than a quarterback.
Yeah.
McCaffrey's a great example of that, a great candidate for that. James Cook, this could be his year. Certainly, Jonathan Taylor is in this conversation, although now the Colts have fallen away because of the injury to Daniel Jones and Sauce Gardner and all of that. They just can't find the recipe to win the way they did early in the season. That hurts them. So San Francisco and McCaffrey, I don't know what their schedule is coming up, but I think those guys you got to finish strong. And certainly James Cook has been walking Jonathan Taylor down for about a month now.
Yeah.
He was like 118 yards behind him, and now he's closer and closer and closer.
Double digits.
He might take him. If he gets the rushing title, that's it for me.
And that would say a lot because the Colts, with Phillip Rivers at quarterback for them right now, are leaning even more on Jonathan Taylor than they were when they had Daniel Jones in the lineup. So it's not like Taylor's going to be short on opportunity to run the ball over these last 3 games when the Colts are fighting and clawing to stay in the playoffs or to get back in the playoffs because they're on the outside looking in, heading into Week 16 here. And to your point about falling off could hurt Taylor, I think it's completely taken Bijan Robinson off the radar, even though I would argue he's the most dynamic back in the entire league. He might be the most gifted athlete at the running back position that we have seen currently. And the guy's got a ridiculous – he might hit 2,000 total yards from scrimmage. Now, if he hits that number, I think Robinson could be back in the conversation, even with a team that is going absolutely nowhere and is probably going to see their coach fired at the end of the season. As hard as it might be to hand an award to a team that's going to be on the wrong side of 500 by a lot,
it hurts
2,000 yards.
It hurts him.
2,000 yards says something, though. Like
it does.
You reach mythical numbers, you could be back in the conversation, I think, don't you?
Yeah.
2,000 total yards? Does
Sure.
that do it for you? Maybe not.
No, I mean
2,000 rushing yards is something different.
2,000 rushing yards,
total yards,
2,000
not quite
total
as
yards,
much
not
punch.
so much. Because I would think for a guy like Bijan Robinson, there would have to be a bigger gap between him and James Cook.
Yeah.
He'd have to be out here, and they're not. They're
like 400 yards
yeah,
away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the gap for him and the second place guy has to be bigger than what it will be between McCaffrey and Cook.
The last few weeks could have a lot to say about who takes the Offensive Player of the Year award, but it's likely to be a running back again, as it was last year with the Eagles' Saquon Barkley, although Seattle's Jackson Smith-Njigba could be a dark horse candidate. He is racking up receiving yards like nobody's business. Time now for the numbers game, and we'll quiz Steve on MVP and Offensive Player of the Year history. Let's do it. Question number 1. What player holds the record for the highest total yards from scrimmage in a single season?
I'm going to say LaDainian Tomlinson.
It is not LaDainian Tomlinson. That's a good guess, though. I like that.
What was the running back with Indianapolis is in the Hall of Fame now.
Eric Dickerson?
No. With Peyton Manning.
Oh, Edgerrin James.
Edgerrin James. Obviously,
not
that's not Edgerrin James.
It's in that era, though, if that helps you.
I'm going to say it is a running back.
Yes.
Priest Holmes?
It is not Priest Holmes. It is Chris Johnson.
Who? Oh.
Tennessee Titans.
Oh, yes. YK2.
Yeah.
CK2, yeah.
2,509 total yards in 2009. He was the NFL Offensive Player of the Year that year.
Talk about a comet. He was here and gone.
Yeah, he was like a
wasn't
supernova.
He was really a supernova.
Like for 3 or 4 years, he was top notch, and then I don't know what happened. It wasn't the same.
Disappeared, yeah.
Question number 2. How many NFL MVPs have won the award in back-to-back years? Something that Josh Allen has an opportunity to do potentially this year.
I will say be more than that. I was going to say 4.
You're very close. It's 5.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Joe Montana, and Jim Brown. Manning is the only one to do the back-to-back twice.
Right.
So, good for him. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Question number 3. Who is the only league MVP to win the award 3 years straight?
Rodgers?
It is not Rodgers. He's won 4, but only 2. He only won back-to-back once. It is not Jim Brown either. That's a great guess.
Is it from that era? Is it?
It's no, it is not from the Jim Brown era. No.
Is it this century?
Previous century.
Montana.
It is not Montana. It is Brett Favre. Won
well,
3 in a row.
Bless his
I
heart.
believe the years were 95, 96, and 97. And question 4.
All right.
What 2 players share the record for the most offensive player of the year awards?
Oh, my gosh. What 2 players?
Yep.
What era?
They're in 2 different eras.
Oh, my gosh.
I will tell you,
3?
They each won 3. And here's the kicker. They both won 3 in consecutive years.
I got to say LaDainian Tomlinson again.
It is not LaDainian Tomlinson. They are both Hall of Famers.
Earl Campbell.
Earl Campbell is one. Very good, Steve.
That was a shot in the dark.
1978 to 1980.
Is
3 consecutive Offensive Player of the Year awards.
I will say,
The other one is more recent.
like, in this century? Just shy. Or crosses
Just shy.
over.
Just shy.
I will say Megatron.
It is not Megatron.
Is it a running back?
Yes, and I know you can get this.
Barry Sanders.
Hall of Famer, not Barry Sanders,
Therm.
not Thurman. You'll say, of course, after I give you the name if you don't get it.
Okay, think. Running back from just around
NFC.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
He wants to get it now.
Running back.
3 consecutive years won the Offensive Player of the Year award.
Wait. I'm going through my. Okay. NFC. I gotta look at the NFC teams. Let's see.
No cheating now.
I'm not cheating. Walter Payton.
Not Walter Payton.
Okay, wait. Don't tell me.
You want one more guess?
I want another guess.
This is getting good. The competitive nature of Steve Tasker is bubbling to the surface.
Eric Dickerson.
It is not Eric Dickerson.
I have no idea who it is.
It is Marshall Faulk.
Oh yeah, I probably should remember him.
1999.
I couldn't. You know what? Because they're so close, I ball up LaDainian
Tomlinson and
Falk in the same.
Makes sense. That's why I tried to give you NFC to try to help you, because I could
Falk
tell Tomlinson was on the brain.
Marshall Falk, wherever you're out there, I apologize. You should have. I should have.
He was
him.
unbelievable.
He was amazing.
For
he
a
was a
stretch
dude.
there.
He was an absolute dude.
That
Bless his
guy
heart.
with Kurt Warner. Holy cow!
Yeah. All right.
So that's the numbers game. Bills fans, get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Just download the app today to play any way you want. Plus, with live betting, you'll get updated odds on games that have already started. Best of all, you get paid your winnings fast. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the Buffalo Bills. Time now for our one burning question. Do you think James Cook's candidacy for Offensive Player of the Year could actually be hurt by the fact that his quarterback is Josh Allen?
I don't think so. Not in the shape we're seeing it with the Bills, because of the run game, and because everybody already knows Josh is this unicorn kind of guy. To have a run game that has complemented him in so much, it could hurt him, because they might think, well, they got Josh, nobody's really packing it in to stop the run anyway. I don't think so, though. I don't think so. I think the fact that the Bills are still scoring at a high rate with a run-first offense says something, at least if the voters go that deep and think about it. No, I don't think so. I think he can still do it.
The only reason I worry that some might be biased with that is because Jonathan Taylor was playing with a resurgent Daniel Jones and is now finishing with a 44-year-old Phillip Rivers. And Christian McCaffrey largely played the season with Mac Jones and Brock Purdy, who I don't think are viewed, none of those quarterbacks are viewed in the same stratosphere as Josh Allen. Mm-hmm. I do think James is helped by the fact that they are the number one team in rushing and pretty much have been wire to wire this season.
Right.
And he has the numbers to back up the production, not only over the stretch of the entire season, but game by game. There aren't too many dud games for James Cook this season. I think there's only one game he was held under 50 yards. That was the Week 5 game against New England. Other than that, he's been flirting with 100 almost every single week, and that's just rushing yards I'm talking about.
But we've been talking about, like McCaffrey and stuff. McCaffrey's,
his receiving is off the charts.
Right. His rushing is way down.
But his receiving yards are insane.
Yeah, he ranks number 3 in rushing attempts, but he's 13th in yards.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not even in the top half of the league. He's barely in the top half of the league. So I think you've got to be better than that.
It might be down to Cook and Taylor at this point.
I think so. Anything can happen. And Jackson Smith and Jigba, I think it could pivot on how their team finishes.
Yeah.
But
I think he's a dark horse candidate, Smith and Jigba, because he's been
too.
Unbelievable all season long.
He's been an amazing player this year, so we'll see. But I think the consistency of Cook may help him.
Yeah. Our closing figure deals with Josh Allen's exploits as a scoring machine. Allen currently sits just one offensive touchdown away from 300 in his career. If he gets just one touchdown in Cleveland Sunday in Week 16, he will become not only the fastest player to 300 career touchdowns, doing so in just 126 games, but also the youngest. At 29 years and 214 days old, Aaron Rodgers was previously the fastest to 300 touchdowns, doing so in 134 games. No other NFL player in the history of the game has hit 300 offensive touchdowns before age 31. Hall of Famer Peyton Manning was previously the youngest at 31 years, 212 days old, almost 2 full years older than Joshua Patrick Allen, who should get the job done on Sunday. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
It's like I say all the time.
It is.
No one scores touchdowns at the rate of Josh Allen.
There is a reason why the Bills are the most entertaining team in football, and it's because they score. And that's the guy that's responsible for it.
He's amazing. That's it for this episode. Be sure to subscribe on whatever podcast platform you use so you know when the next episode is out. Or watch us on the Bills YouTube channel, because when you need to know about the Bills, you need to check Bills by the Numbers. For Steve Tasker, I'm Chris Brown. Thanks for listening. Merry Christmas, everybody.